Just a word of warning, the video you're about to see was done in between night shifts, the late hours of the evening. I mean, it's 2:30 now. Last thing at night, first thing in the morning, and various other silly, stupid o'clock times. So, it's going to have lots of periods where I'm changing my mind. Sometimes it probably won't be making much sense. But it's not a how-to video, it's not an educational video, it is a video of me basically working my way through something and rambling on as I go along. So, I was figuring this thing out as I went along day by day, and I would think I had it sussed, and then I discovered that I hadn't, and checked something else out and discovered it didn't work this way, it worked that way, and you get the idea. But don't concentrate so much on what I'm saying, concentrate on what's happening to the thing I'm working on. Because this came to me totally dead, and now it's sort of, well, it's just about working. So, just a bit of a forward for you. Like I say, if I sound tired in the video, it's probably because I am. Alright, enjoy the show. Yeah, this is a Glendale tune module from 1982. I just set this on my lap and I'm just... It's going to be start of something interesting. It comes out of prize egg machine. You know, the ones guaranteed prize every time, except this one, a slight variation on the theme. Glendale decided this one would play oranges and lemons. It's kind of oranges and lemons themed thing. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. It's one of those guaranteed prize every time where you put your 10p in and it puts out an egg, like a Kinder Surprise sort of thing. Pop open the egg and you get joke, paper hat, whatever. Stuff like that. It's not in the best of nick, as you can see. The transformer is a rusted out mess. Done a bit of searching around. Managed to find the new transformer. It's the same spec. Should be a sound generator chip in here, but it was absolutely destroyed. All the legs were corroded off and rusted off, chip was cracked, there's no chance of saving it. It's being consigned to landfill, couldn't get the numbers off it or anything. There's no chance of rescuing it. I mean, half the pins are still stuck in that socket there. I did try and get some markings off it, I tried all sorts. Tried rubbing something over the top of it, see if there's any marks etched in it. I tried... I couldn't get anything. Right, anyway. Its main's powered, so it's got its own transformer and it's got its own power supply. There's a 555 chip there. It's set up as a free running timer. There's a 380 amplifier there. That's tied to this, so I'm assuming that is volume control. A voltage regulator, filter cap, coupling cap. That's coming off the amplifier output, so that's coupling cap for the speaker. It's kind of handy because it means I can just crocodile clip a speaker to the end of that and then to any ground. Belongs to a friend of mine. When we originally started looking at this, we could not read the markings on that for regulator for love nor money. But come on, focus. But I cleaned it and cleaned it really well. Best could get, and we can see a 5A at the end. So it's 7815. 15 volt regulator now. That's probably a 12 volt transformer. When you regulate AC into DC, the voltage can sometimes be a little higher, partly because of the effects of the transformer and partly because of the smoothing cap. Smoothing caps, I don't think that's going to work again. Could probably try it, but I don't think it's going to work again. But it doesn't matter. Can't read the markings off it either. This one up here, I can tell, see that's 35 volt. It looks pretty corroded as well. But so I know that one's 35 volt. I know this one can be 35 volts. So because it just has to be 1.5 times more the power supply in your find. So that can be replaced by any big capacitor value at 35 volt. That can be replaced by 35 volt. That can be replaced by 35 volt. And again, that could probably be any reasonable size value. I would assume that's like a 100 or something. I'll stick a 100 in, I've got one. Volume control. Believe it or not, the volume control still turns, so that might work. I'll leave that in there for the minute. All the resistors and stuff are rusted out. It looks like a few of them being replaced already. That one's different, that one's different, that one's different. That's an original one there, that's an original. Some of them pretty rusted out as well. I reckon I'll be able to, I can read the colour bands on them and also I can measure them, try and get value on them. Yeah, so I believe the way it works is mains in here, 12 out of there, get about 15 volts out of this, and the supply's set to the timer on the chip and the amplifier. Timer's something to do with a clock circuit for the chip. These transistors here are tied to various outputs on the chip, so I suppose maybe preamps. This one here's probably a preamp because it's tied to this. These two controls here, something to do with timing. I'm not too sure. It doesn't really matter anyway, because this chip's shot. What I need to do is come up with something else to play oranges and lemons through that amplifier. Not too difficult these days, there's plenty of single chip voice recorders and stuff like that. Maplins are actually doing quite a good kit now, so there's MK196, you can get it from other places as well, so I'll maybe try using that. But I don't want to just make a separate, another board for my mate to have to fart around with in the machine. I wanted to do it in such a way that you just plug the original cable back in here and then the board does the rest. So what I'm going to do with this is I'll restore this so it works as it should. Obviously it won't play anything in a minute because the chip will be missing. But I'll repair this so that the amplifier is working, power supply is working, all the rest of it. Then I'll see about modifying it so that the board will play oranges and lemons in the cabinet through the voice recorder. But if this chip ever did turn up, the voice recorder could be taken off and the chip can be fitted and then board be 100% original. Going to have to do quite a bit of reflowing in the back as well because the soldering's pretty corroded. Yeah. This thing lay in very damp conditions for quite a long time. Bizarrely the dampness only seem to have got the power supply, so I'll show you in a wee while how I'm going to power this. I'm not plugging it into the mains, not yet anyway. Got a transformer to fit, but I'm not doing that straight off. I want to make sure everything works first. So I've got something else I could plug into it to provide it with power. And then we'll do some spot checks and we'll see. I mean, I'll need to do some remedial repairs first. No dare I'm plugging it in with this cap here. I'd imagine that would make a pretty good fireworks show. I'll take a measurement of that in a minute to see if there's any reading at all of it. But for the minute, that's the start of this project, and I'm hoping it's not going to be too long a project, but what we'll do for the minute is we'll change this cap out. I'll see if I've got one of these. If I haven't, this one should be fine. Change this cap out, change that cap out. I might as well just leave that in and actually see what it's not too bad. It's corroded on the outside, but yeah. Take the transformer off and we'll put something in place so I can connect the board up. So this is going to be interesting. It's going to be sort of a product of generations as well. I don't mean it's going to take years to do, but yeah, it's going to have some interesting elements to it, I think. So yeah, let's get cracking with it. Okay. Open. Yeah, this one reads a little something, but yeah, mostly open. Have a look around the board and there's quite a few little parts that are shattered. Little glass case parts. I'm going to assume they're diodes. And I'm going to assume that big yellow band points to the cathode. They might not be, and it might not do, but yeah. I'll just have to assume that for the minute because there's no diagrams for this anywhere. Kind of flying blind just now. Now, I said this is going to be video generations. Well, this is from 82. So I figured we'd power this from something from previous generation, which is around the 70s. This dates from around 74, 75 maybe. It's a lab pack. It's basically a switchable power supply with a current trip. It's quite a handy thing. Anybody who'd be going to school 70s, early 80s, they would have Unilab power supplies in the science rooms. This is what the university professors played with. I think it might date as far back as the valve year actually, because we've got a 6.3 volt output for tube filaments and stuff. We've also got a 300 volt HT side. That's been disabled in there. I'm not re-enabling it. We will not be playing with the 300 volts. Not a chance. This is from 72, maybe. Let's test this. Because I haven't put this on yet. Only recently got it. Let's test this from something from the 60s. Which is a Fluke 8125 military multimeter. Piece of useless information for you guys. This can withstand 20 G's of downward force. It's practically explosion proof. I believe when they were selling these to the military, they marketed them as capable of withstanding a nuclear blast. At least a very, very powerful blast. And with this one, it hasn't been calibrated and it does read slightly off. I'm getting to see there's nothing at all connected to it just now. The leads are here. But all I do to prove whether this works or not is whatever reading's on there, I take away for whatever I'm getting here. So, leads are going in. We're negative 0.1, so we take 0.1 off a reading. I've got this set to 12 volts there on the coarse, 0 on the fine, so it should be reading me about 12 volts. Set the current trip, set it in the middle. Let's see. And there we go. It's actually reading it okay. It's reading 12.04. So, yeah. It can be a bit funny that way. See, the current trip light is off. And you can use the fine control here to add more power in 0.2 divisions. Yeah, see? So, yeah. This flat pack's working okay. Such a really nicely made piece of kit. I really like it. I'm going to use it for some other things as well. But I figured that since this is old school, we use old school gear to get it working. I mean, I love this thing to bits. This is part of my collection. I very rarely use it, but I'll never get rid of it. It's the same as my valve radio that I've got stashed away in the kitchen. It's more ornamental value than anything else, but yeah, it's good. So, what's the next step of this? Well, we need to take all these broken diodes off and replace them. I don't know what type they are. We'll put 4001s on to try them out and see how it goes. The capacitors obviously all need to go. Transformer will come off, and I'll put a line for this to the secondary pads where that would be sitting, and then we'll see what we get. I'll croc tag a speaker onto the end there, then the other side to ground. There's actually a ground connection up there that'll suffice, or anywhere in the case will suffice as well. It's all earth. But yeah, I want to try and get somewhere with this because I can't do anything with getting it converted until I get it working. So we'll see how we progress, and we'll see what stumbling blocks are on the way. Actually, well, I've still got the other multimeter handy. Switch this off. I forgot to test this potential and see if there was anything at all. Being delivered from it. Yeah, and you know, tangle of leads. Who knows why leads tangle? So anyway, let's see. Go for there, go for the wiper. And not looking good. It's reading open. Might not be open. Turn the board, we'll try the other side. I'm not entirely proficient with, for all my troubleshooting stuff, I'm not entirely proficient with holding multimeter leads with one hand. I've never been particularly good at that, so yeah. No, that's looking like, I think we have to assume that that is, yeah, we've got to assume that that port's wide open. So we'll need to find one. Doesn't stop me powering this up though. That though would. So plan for that is I'm just going to cut it off at the leads and then solder something in its place. Yeah. As far as the resistors go, those ones there, their line's heading to the chip, or what's left. The chip, seriously, that's all that's left of the chip is the remains of it there. The rest of it was crumbly. Transistors are on the output side, and say one of them's going to the amplifier. And those resistors up there, I find the only resistors I think are important, only stuff important at the minute, I think, is on, sort of on that side like that. Yeah, it's a half-wave rectifier as well. Oh yeah, it's a center tap transformer, so it'll be a center tap loop back rectifier. Yeah, so yeah, I suppose nice and simple. I wonder if that would clean up. I mean, the carbon trace is visible, so hold on. I wonder. Let's try reading this again on the carbon trace. I'm getting, sorry, you could just see it's hard to do this one-handed, but I'm getting, yeah, I'm getting about 10 meg off of that. That's wide open. Pull one off is something, a jury rig one in. There's another one of those shutter dials there. That big thick stripe must be the cathode side. It must be. There's an original 555 as well. Be nice if that worked. It's an RCA part. Old school thing. So, there goes the focus. So, big polyester cap there as well. Yeah, I think that's a bit leaky, don't you? So, I noticed that though. I noticed that. Check that out there if you can read it. If it'll focus in. 100 degrees C. Claim this could operate at 100 degrees centigrade. I don't think it's going to make it somehow. I really don't. Yeah, so enough rambling. I'm not going to do anything else this tonight, but I've got plenty of parts lying about. I'll find the pot, I'll find the cap, I'll find another cap. And we'll do a test power of this up tomorrow. Okay. I'll probably get up to about yeah, that's nice and stable now. Don't you just love Nixie tubes as well? That's another reason I love this meter. It's beautiful. Looks much more pleasant than that thing. Anyway, seriously, enough rambling or I would go on all night. Video's been long enough for something as small as this. Bye for now. I made a bit of progress here. Yeah, do not adjust your set, that thing is plain double dragon. I came to the conclusion that those dials were actually links. Because the dials, they make absolutely no sense. They make no sense whatsoever. And you'd be blocking off the output from that. You'd be blocking off the output from here. You'd be blocking off an output up there. Well, so I fitted links. I can only imagine these glass things here, the glass wire links. But anyway, made a bit of progress. Changed the rig to 7812. Fitted the links. Changed the amplifier because it was dead. And we're getting somewhere. That's the current draw is still jumping about all over the place, which isn't quite right. I think these two caps here, the red one and the blue one, they are dead. Certainly seems to be a lot of crackle coming off that red one. I forgot to change that black cap there, so that's probably dragging the voltage down a bit as well. That's the supply voltage towards the rock. With that capacitor there, in the 2000, getting 16 volt. 16 bloody volts, and that's on DC. I'll show you how to power it. Comes out of the power supply, in through the meter. Meter's set to measure current. Back through the meter, into the board, then out from the board, back out to the power supply. And yeah, it seems to be doing fine. Bit quiet, but that speaker's totally shot as well. Plus this is just all jury rigged together to run. Seems to draw slightly more voltage and drag it down a wee bit sometimes too. It jumps about between 12 and 16. I've played various things through this tonight. It's running alright. No issues, it doesn't even heat up. You can't draw that low when it's playing something that... Ooh, jumped to 20 milliamp there. That's milliamp, by the way, not amp. So that new transformer there is going to be absolutely fine for it. It's obviously, it'll draw a bit more, I'd imagine, once we get something in where this socket is. I would imagine it'll draw a hell of a lot more. Still plenty of things to figure out. I need to figure out how to trigger it, I need to figure out how to reset it. I'm probably going to draw a circuit diagram for it. Now obviously the volume control is doing nothing in a minute, so I'm just into the input. That's still to do. But it's getting there. It's actually been a fun project on my days off here. It's fun to take something that's not working and convert it to something that is working. Sorry, camera's moving a bit there. I'm just checking to see if that cap's okay, and it is. Couldn't read the value on that cap there, I've marked C3, so just put anything in there for now. That could even be responsible for making it quieter, I don't know. We'll find out. Experiment with some different values, I think. Experiment with a different value cap there, change that cap. Could just be a speaker making it quiet. It could be because I've only got one side of a stereo channel into it. Got nothing audio I can play in. Mono I can play into it at the minute. But yeah, it's okay. I just love that mirror there. Absolutely love that mirror. Anyway, it was originally on 15 volt. The reason I've downgraded to 12 volt is because what I'm planning to adapt for that socket there runs on 12 volt. I don't think it would handle 15 with a tiny regulator it's got, so I took the decision to downgrade the power supply to 12 volt. It'll be absolutely fine like that. Just a couple of things I need to figure out. So that's how this is going for the minute. More to follow. Just to add this in. Volume control works as well. Yeah, probably got a copyright strike off of that, never mind. Right, excuse me, a little bit noisy in here. As you can see, it works, Richie, it works. It doesn't work the way it's meant to though. For the minute, I've made a couple of modifications. I really don't want to be making modifications to this because I want to get it just to the point where you can just plug it back into your cabinet and it runs. But there are a couple of issues with it. First of all, it works with a couple of changes I've made, but when it's run the way it's supposed to, with the signal through that transistor there, it's very quiet. It's very, 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 very quiet. And I was struggling to figure out why. And I was struggling to figure out the amplifier circuit as well, because there is that transistor there forms a bit of a preamp and it's just not working the way I was intended to. It had me quite miffed for quite some time. So, a bit tricky to do this one hand. I'll get this off and I'll show you why. It's all done to do, I think, with the way that Glendale have built the circuit. See if that'll come off. Yeah, come off, no problem now. It's all powered down, by the way, so don't panic. It's all, I switched it all back off. Yeah, it's to do with the way the Glendale have done a circuit. Not normally with any previous amplifier I've seen involving a LM380 like you see here. What you get is you get a signal source that's fed in to the pot. That side's tied to ground, and then the common line off the pot gets fed into the amplifier input and out to the speaker. Glendale have done it slightly differently though. What Glendale have done, what they're doing is they start the one side of the pot tied to 12 volt rail, so you've always got a 12 volt potential there. Then this side of it is fed into this transistor here, which is the ZTX500. They've basically made a preamp out of this transistor, and the base of this transistor is controlled by the sound chip. So what's happening is, instead of the signal being fed into the amplifier, a common 12 volt rail is having its level changed by this transistor, and then the resultant voltage from here is appearing at the amplifier and being amplified out as sound. Basically, they're pulling everything to ground instead of feeding the signal in. So I couldn't figure out probably how to get that working. There's still quite a bit about this board I don't understand. I mean, I pretty much figured out that this is a switch directly to ground. So what they would be doing is, this chip wouldn't be powered up at all unless you were calling for sound. I don't know what this one does, and I don't know what this one does. I don't know if this is something to do with switching different voice channels and chip or whatever. I mean, I don't know. All I know is when I apply a trigger here by connecting the middle pin to ground, the bias level on this link here, which is going to the base of this transistor, changes. It goes from something like 2.5 to 1.5 or something. Don't know. It's a bit perplexing me. As I've said many times before, analog electronics ain't my strong point. It's digital stuff I fly with. So what I did for the minute was I converted the amplifier back to something I do understand. I've lifted this leg of this potentiometer off the 12 volt rail, I've tied it to ground, and then I'm feeding the signal in here off the emitter of the transistor instead of the base. And that's what you heard coming out of the speaker at the minute. But I'm not happy with that. I'm really not happy with that because, like I said, I want this to work the way it's intended to in the cabinet. So, I still have some work to do here. I've also got to change this capacitor here as well because it is mega leaky, and I could show you that in a minute. A quick test for, normally when you're doing capacitor stuff you would do what's called an ESR test. But a quick test you can do to see if a capacitor is working or not is just lift one side of it. I'm sure I cut that. It doesn't want to lift now. I'm sure I cut a side of it. Or maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't cut a side of it, but with an electrolytic you shouldn't get much at all. If one side of it's lifted, you shouldn't get much at all here. And you should get some here, so I'm getting about 8 volt on one side of that and 4 volt on the other, and the leg's cut. So that cap's bad. That capacitor's dead. If the leg's cut and it's electrolytic and I'm sending a DC signal in here, I shouldn't be getting anything out this side. I'm getting 4 volt out there, so that cap's shorted. So it's certainly be affecting something somewhere. My little things here. Things falling apart on me a little bit here. That's alright, it's because I've got it all unhooked. So, what I'm going to do the next time I get a chance, I've not got much of time to do it today, I'm just about to start work again. We'll renew this transistor, change that cap, take this modification back off, at least temporarily, connect that back to 12 volt rail, and I'll see if I can get it to work properly the way it was intended to work in the cabinet, because if it doesn't, I'll just put this modification back and then be done with it. I've also still got to work out how this triggers the sound chip for a track sound. It's got a track sound. Every 10 minutes or so it should play the tune on its own. I think the reason the bias changes here, when it's triggered and not triggered, is that when it plays the sound on its own, it's quieter. I'm pretty sure the amplifier needs to be... the soundboard needs to be calling for sound before you hear the sound at the proper level. I think when their track sound plays just of its own accord, when it's not actually calling for sound, I think it plays quieter. I mean, that's roughly what I'm seeing at the minute. That's what I think anyway. So, I may change that amplifier trip as well. Anyway, that's a pull. By the way, that's not new. That's a pull from a 20-year-old board or something, but it works better than the old one did, which never produced any sound at all. Also, now that I know this is a common switch to ground, I need to upgrade these to, I say, 1 to 2 watt resistors, because they're taking the full load of the board to ground. These are just 0.6 watt metal film. I'll put 2 watt resistors in there to beef that up a bit and make sure it's bulletproof. So that's where we are at the minute. More will follow shortly. Right, that's it bad together the way it's intended, and no, it is bad together. I don't notice much difference in the sound as to when I had it bypassed. Don't know if that transistor's working better. It still doesn't seem as loud as I'd like. I mean, it never seems as loud as I like, but maybe I've got a false expectation of how loud that 380 should be pumping out. I know this is the wrong value capacitor as well. I'll change that back to the 2.2 nanofarad that it should be. Replace that capacitor under there. That's a new transistor. I think, to be honest, I'm just going to go with what I've got here, because although it's not that loud, it's only gone on a chicken egg machine. Chicken egg machines in a private collection, so you still hear the ditty. It'll still work the way it's intended. It's just, I don't know, maybe I'm still missing a piece of the puzzle what these other transistors do, or maybe it's just me. See, I've got a ground lead tied to the other end of that there, because the transistor up here that's connecting power to ground is broken. I've tied it off there as well, just for good measure. I'll replace that when I get one. Yeah, so the next part of this is going to be making an adapter to fit this to the board, and I'll probably just remove this 555 here, so I kind of see it needing a track sound. And then I'll need to measure the peak current value with it running when it first switched on, with switch on current, with what you call the inrush current, to make sure that I've got the right value transformer for here. And all things going well, it should be ready to run. So yeah, let's have a last word. Anybody fancy a flake? Nah. No, a bit light in the ear for it, eh? Yeah, we see. So that's where I am for the minute for this. Yeah, bye for now. Yeah. Made a lot more progress now. All the link wires are gone. I'll just tilt this up a wee bit. I've fitted a couple of fly leads to the underside of the little soundboard here. I wired that in a 28-pin socket, so now this whole thing is sitting on an adapter. Also found out exactly how the circuit works now. I've got a lead here somewhere. Yeah. A wee bit tricky to do this one-handed. Won't get any actual tune out of it at the minute, but if I just see, I'm on that centre pin there, and if I the meter's beeping because I'm drawing a lot more current than normal. But idle current's only a few milliamp. I've got that connected on, but see, if I just do this, it doesn't, I don't think it draws particularly much current when it's running. So if I just go, let's see. Yeah, there's a running current there, 313 milliamp, something like that. Yeah. It's about 150 for that and maybe 100 for the board all in. It's probably this capacitor here needs a little bit changing over. But yeah, it is alive. Now what I need to do now is ground out pin 2 on that. And that means that when this connects up, this will just play as long as power is applied. Oh, it's also got, and I figured this out, if I keep rambling on from it, you should hopefully see, Just give it a minute. Yeah, it's not going to do it now, but it actually does have an attract mode of a sort. Not going to do it now. You can do it. There you go. That's actually got me a little bit curious. Why is that drawing so much current when I ground it? I don't know if I can even just go here. Yeah. It's drawing a tremendous amount of current when I ground it. Maybe it's just an inrush. But yeah, you can see we've got an attract of a sort. And we can ground it out ourselves like what happens is there's a relay off in the cabinet, and all it does is it ties the middle pin to the speaker ground. It should be about the same as doing. I don't know if I can do it here. Where's that ground? That's there. Like that. I'm just watching this mirror actually. I may have to do something about this inrush current. Because when I power this up, I do get a bit of a surge. Yeah, anyway, that's enough rambling with that now. Got to do now is got to button this up. Got to attach the transformer, or attach the switch properly here, and We'll see what we get. Right, well, I've got this apart doing that link bar. I'll show you what I've done here. Let the camera focus. 28 pin tungsten pin socket. Stacked another one. On that one I've got power, ground and signal. And what I've just done there on the soundboard is I've permanently wired the play button to ground. I think I would. Is that play button? It better be. Don't want to erase it by accident. Let's see. Yeah, I've wired the play button to ground. Sorry about the long pauses I'm talking, I'm just double checking on my work as I go along here. Still need to update those two resistors. Changed that transistor there, that's the power switch for this soundboard basically. And then the rest is kind of self-explanatory. So yeah, we'll just pause this for a minute and put this back together and we'll see if we are successful. Right, power is applied and hold on, there we go. It works. Inrush current's still enormous, but it works. So just wait for a minute or two now. Right, I had to cut the camera off there a second. It's quite noisy around about the household, but if I just wait about 3 or 4 minutes, that's for cold idle current, 24 milliamp. There is a bit of an inrush when the sound plays, but only when I play it. It's basically built now. A couple of components I still want to change over. There's a bit of a rusty resistor there. There's another one up in the back. Right. I'll give you a quick tour of the board, and I'm going to draw a schematic for it later as well. Definitely need a new regulator. That's a pull when the leg's patched up. I'm going to change that capacitor again for a much more efficient one. Strongly suspect that the ESR is getting quite high in that because you're getting quite an inrush when you first turn the board on. Inrush current. There you go. And there's our current under load. So somehow I don't think this is going to be too much of a bother. It's still a little bit quiet, but that's quite an inefficient speaker. And I don't particularly think you want it to be that loud when it's just in the home. I could probably improve the sound a bit, maybe by grounding the return line off the speaker there. Basically all this board's doing is you've got a speaker out and an analog out on this board, on this chip. Analog out is very, very quiet. You need a more powerful amplifier for it. So what I've done with this is I've tied the speaker out to the input leg of that transistor there. That's a preamp based around the ZTX 500. It feeds into that potentiometer, feeds into that resistor there, that capacitor, and into the 2-watt power amp there. That's basically the bare bones of the circuit. All the rest of it here, that large potentiometer, there's your attract mode time, 555 timer, which I've replaced. The other one was stuck at 2 volt permanently and it caused chaos whenever I tried to connect it up. I'll need to reconnect those link wires there. Plays for about 3 or 4 seconds, which is what you want. But you can turn their track mode from 10 minutes to almost like 2 hours or something. Yes. It's almost finished. It's the inrush current I'm worried about here at the minute, because if you just watch the meter, and you just watch the meter, and I'll ground this out here and play the sound. See how it jumps there, about 700 milliamps sometimes. I'm not sure whether that's just getting a tiny bit of microscopic arcing on the end of this crocodile lead whenever I touch it on there. Because it doesn't do it all the time. So you do it again. And again. But it quickly dies off. And it'll settle back down. So I don't know, I've got two options here. I need to, first of all, temporarily wire a switch on here on a proper plug and make sure that's not doing that all the time. What I'll do is I could even do this on the speaker lead itself, I'd imagine. If I go, hold on. If I just ground it on the speaker lead itself. Yeah, I think that inrush is coming from arcing off the lead. But anyway, I'll figure that out. It's maybe just more efficient capacitor and that'll solve that. It could be in a couple of things as well. Maybe that capacitor is the wrong value. Or maybe I need to add another capacitor up here to absorb that inrush. I don't know. But yeah, it's basically working a treat now. I've got a transformer to fit there. I'm just trying to work out whether a 6 VA transformer is going to be enough when I've got an inrush current of 500 milliamps coming in for a fraction of a second. I can't see it burning it out. I mean, the power supply up here is absorbing the inrush current, no bother. It just seems to be coming from the board. I mean, that's got a current trip, and I've got that set to practically nothing, and it's not tripping out. So I can't be. Maybe this meter's a little bit off calibration. Maybe my inrush current isn't quite as high as that. I mean, this is just. It's a nice multimeter, but it's quite a cheap one, so it's maybe not that accurate with current readings and stuff. But, yeah, it fits nicely in my toolbox, so I'll sell them to go on with it. Yeah, see, so it's been about 3 or 4 minutes now, so we'll see if this kicks back in. And it should do. It's basically 99.999% ready to go in the board. To go in the cabinet. Yeah, turn the speaker back around. It sounds a bit rubbishy when it's lying the other way. Should kick in any minute. Oh, I've marked all the board as well, where everything goes. To say I'm going to draw. I don't know if I'll draw the full schematic because you could be sitting there for hours working out where little traces go. There you go. And that pop as well is something to do with inrush current as well. I could probably put a capacitor on there to absorb that. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, it's done. Just need to assemble it and well, I really don't want to do it, but I'll need to connect the full main supply up to it somehow, and need to get a hold of the digital thermometer and check that the transformer doesn't heat up. I don't think it will, as I said. I really don't think that this inrush current is anything to worry about. I really don't. I think it's just an anomaly. Because it's not there all the time. there'll be something I can do to resolve that. But it's maybe once I ground this out, it's going to. So I'm going to add a ground wire for there to the nearest 0 volt line on the capacitor, and that should solve that. It's just basically about dotting the I's and crossing the T's, so to speak, getting it all connected up properly back in the cabinet where it belongs, which means once I button this up here, it's going to get shipped back off down south to my mate, and then it's going to be up to him to install it in the cabinet, and hopefully he will continue this video down there with it running in the cabinet. So this is the Wednesday. Oh, I definitely got a tripod as well. Anybody got a spare tripod? Because my arms are aching holding this camera all the time. Yeah, so I need to figure out now what I'm going to do to connect this up to the mains to give it a full power test. And also how I'm going to keep the meter in the line when it's on the transformer. I mean, it could be simply once I connect it up to the transformer, this inrush current goes away. I mean, no, I'm only going through one side of the bridge rectifier there now. So that could be a factor as well. I could be loading one side down too heavily. I mean, yeah, but we'll find out. So Richie, if you're watching, thanks in advance for a couple of things that you're doing for me. And yeah, this will continue. I'm going to leave this running for a few hours now and just occasionally torch and replace with oranges and lemons. Like that. Could maybe slow that down or speed that up a little bit so I get exactly 4 seconds of sound. You'll get that's timed to the same value as the time it takes for the drum to spin round when it's in the game. Well, not the game, the cabinet anyway. And yeah, we're almost there. Okay, a lot more progress now. I had to replace the 555 once or twice. There was a intermittent short on board. I still need to replace this resistor here, but I've linked the track sim back up and I put that in the socket, so no more soldering needed there. And if I just set this to peak, let it calibrate first. Right, the peak current is still mighty high, but it's only for a fraction of a second you get that. Probably changing that capacitor there will solve that, but I'm not too worried about that. So, because the running current is in the milliamp range, it's only 0.2022 amp, that's what, 22 milliamp. I've got a rudimentary switch wired here. That should trigger for the game. Takes a load up to between 60 and 100 milliamp, and if we wait for a few minutes, hopefully this track sound will kick in as well. And the track sound, strangely enough, takes slightly less of a load. Sorry, I cut off there. This track sound should kick in a few minutes. Won't be far away now, actually. This is basically ready to go. I just need to put the transformer on it now, and I think it is done. There you go. Running current with the track sound on 66 milliamp. It always stays about 66 milliamp. So I'm pretty sure we'll get away with a 6VA 500 milliamp transformer there. Which is what I'm going to put on in a minute. The next time you see this powered up, it will be with the transformer. I hope. because I want to get this buttoned up and finished now. It is ready to go. So, stay tuned. Right. A word of warning, this is not finished yet. But it's getting there. I had to stop with the testing and repairs because I don't have a connector that fits that header plug there. Plug? No, that should be socket. But yeah, we'll call it a header plug. Got a replacement transformer for this. It's impossible to tell what this actually is without a schematic diagram. So I've just guessed, because this one fits the solder points under there. It's rated at 0.5 amp, which I think should be more than enough for this. I did have a few false starts getting a transformer with this. I tried ordering a 1 amp transformer first. What I got in the post was this monster. It's kind of not going to fit. I'll keep a hold of this for something else. It's the wrong type anyway. It's a PCB. It's not a PCB mounting one. It's like a frame mounting one. So I told them, hang on a minute, you've sent me the wrong transformer. So they sent me a PCB mounting one, which is still just about that big. So we'll go with this. I've got a very good friend making me a connector to fit this. This capacitor's been replaced. I'm going to glue these posts down carefully. And the chip's already programmed with oranges and lemons. Or at least it was. This has been off for a few weeks now, so I don't know if anything's happened to this. I'm assuming not, because it's a flash chip. It should hold this information forever. Well, not forever, you know what I mean. This is temporary. I'll replace that with a new one. Or if you're not bothered, I'm talking to the owner of this now, if you're not bothered about a track mode, you just cut this link here and then the track mode stops. There's not really much point replacing this because it still works. I know it looks a bit rusty, but the carbon tracking is absolutely fine. That still works. There's no point replacing it. I know that looks a bit shoddy, but that still works. There's no point replacing that. The only concern I have when it comes to powering it up with mains voltage is some underlying corrosion on the bottom of the board there, but it's all on either the ground plane or the low voltage side. Now will this focus? Will it focus? Like that? It's trying to focus. It's not going to do it. I can't hold it close. I can't hold it steady enough. Ah, there we go. That looks a wee bit shoddy at the minute. I'll clean that up. All the flux off that will be fine. So, next step for this is to actually build a test rig for it. Once I get the connector, the main supply will come in through here, but it'll come in here through a switch spur with a 500 milliamp fuse in it and a power breaker. I'm not plugging this directly into the mains. I'm also going to, I need to replace this anyway. This is just a temporary one. I'm going to remove this. I'm going to put a pico fuse on its output, and I'm also going to put my meter through that on current setting to measure the current going through this, coming out of this regulator, to measure the load that's drawn by this and this. I'm pretty sure we'll be fine. I'm pretty sure we'll be fine. At the minute, this probably could plug straight back into your machine and it would be perfectly fine. But because it has its own power supply and it's plugged into the mains, I'm not going to just send it back to you without testing. But what I wanted to do tonight was get this video out because it's something like 9 parts long. And I've had this for quite a while, so I just want to let people know what I'm getting up to with it. And hopefully you should be seeing it in your machine soon. Anyways, if you like what I'm doing here with various things, subscribe to the channel. Leave any comments at the bottom, criticism good or bad. I absorb both. I like to hear what other people think about any hints and tips, things that people are doing. And stay tuned for hopefully the final part.